Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today I'm with a returning guest. He was on the podcast pre-COVID and recently over Zoom to promote his new single, Clean, and they just dropped the Clean music video, so I'm excited to talk to him about that and honestly just catch up. I'm here with B-Boy Fidget.
Hey.
And we did it. So let's get into the music video, man. So you released this song. How many months ago did you release this song?
3 to 4 months ago.
And then you just dropped the music video 2 weeks ago? Not too far long ago.
Yeah, not too long ago. Mm-hmm.
So when did you shoot the music video?
The music video was a process. And so we kind of shot it at different times, you know. We had one incident where we had like a drone camera shot that we were going to do, and the drone then ended up hitting the wall. And then had to get new propellers for the drone. It was just like a whole bunch of stuff that, you know, little things that nobody knows unless you're in it. But so the whole process probably took like a month and a half, 2 months just to shoot the video from start to finish.
Wow.
From editing and stuff. But I always say anything worth having is worth waiting for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a good video and it's out now on YouTube. Shout out to my dude Nobi. Shout out to Digital Beats, the digital.
Yes,
you know?
sir.
Mm-hmm.
And whose single is it under?
I think, well, right now, like if you go on Spotify, it's under Nobi, you know, but I think we're gonna kind of cross promote it because we both have different projects that we're coming out with, and just to actively give the song a little more oomph and rejuvenate it, I'm gonna put it on my project as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
It seems like you guys kind of brought out I feel like you have to really think about it, but I feel like Nobi's, is kind of like a grittier artist.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a brighter song for him. Do you think you guys brought that out of him, or like who came up with the idea for Clean in the first place?
So shout out to the digital because we've been working on a project together for about the last year, and it was just one of those situations where, to be honest, like I hadn't heard too much from Nobi. I knew about his reputation in the scene and that he was a dope artist, but I really hadn't got to dive into his music.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew from digital because I'd heard stuff that they had worked on. So I didn't know he was a darker artist. All I knew was that track that, you know, he played the track, he played a little bit of Nobi on the track, and the song was unfinished. So the track really moved me, and so I went ahead and just laid down my verse, and without Nobi even knowing, just with the hopes that he was gonna like where it was going. And he did, and it just kind of came together that way. But I feel like a lot of times as an artist, I feel like a good artist kind of does flow like water, and you let the beat and the environment tell you what to do. And so Nobi's a great artist. I like to put myself in that category as well. And so the beat is just happy. The beat just it makes you smile even with no words. And so I feel like the beat really brought that out of him more than me, you know, but it was a no-brainer where to go with the song because it's just how the vibe and the feeling of the beat.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, it's dope. YouTube's been like recommending your music to me lately because you do all these crazy like remixes actually that I've been finding. My favorite one is what's it called? The Lil Wayne, is it The One? I'm the One, or what's it called? With Drake, Lil Wayne, Rick Ross.
Oh.
Is it called I'm the One or something like that? It's like Lil Wayne's like, I'm about to go Andre the Giant.
Oh.
You a sellout.
Okay.
I'm not buying.
You know, it's crazy, man. Like, I come from the era of like mixtapes being bigger than albums.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so technically, like, me as an artist, I have like a good 10 mixtapes out there and only like 2 albums. Because that's just, I don't know, I just have fun doing it, and that's just kind of what I grew up on. And so yeah, if you look online, you'll find a lot of remixes from me, but not as much stuff on Spotify and stuff. But I think it is just always it's a part of hip hop to be able to take something and make it yours. You know, whether it's you're taking a record and you're sampling it and making it into a beat, or you just have something to prove as an artist and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna take this track from this artist and I'm gonna rip it harder than them, and I'm gonna make my remix so hot that when you hear it, you're gonna think of me next time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I always have appreciation for the mixtape game, for sure.
How do you feel about like mixtapes being commercial now, basically?
Like mixtapes are just albums now. I wasn't a fan of that transition, to be honest, but I get it. And so it is what it is. I mean, nothing stays the same.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And also just from like a monetary standpoint, like, you know, you really are, when you do mixtapes, you're really doing it for the fans, because like you're not gonna get a check for that. You know what I'm saying? Like especially like on YouTube, where like your stuff will get taken down easily if you don't even put it up the right way, because you are taking somebody else's property. But that's what's so street about it.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, like, yeah, I'll do it, and maybe I'll rock it at a show or whatever, or even you just bringing it up right now is validation, and just it makes me feel good. Like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do some more mixtape stuff.
The algorithm, man.
Yeah.
And your SoundCloud's like packed with like little remixes and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like who you've been collaborating with has changed since COVID?
I never put a lot of thought into collaborations. It's more just like I'm big on energy, you know. And so when people come into my life, however they come in, if I vibe with their energy, then I'll do something. And I've never been the type of person to like how do I say it? So just period, in or outside of music. I always give everybody, like, say, you start off with 100 points, and what you do after that, I deduct points. You know what I'm saying? But basically, you know, you could come to me as a new artist, and we might not have a big relationship with each other, but I'll still give you a chance, and we'll see where it goes, because I think that's always the best way, is like you know, just to not be a know-it-all and to always be a student of the game. You know?
Because when I first interviewed you, Jesus, that was almost 2 years ago. It was actually March. I just looked it up. March 9th, 2020. So that was a few days before the pandemic. I saw you had like singles with like Emmanuel Brown, and now it seems like more of a switch to like the Nobi artists. I love Emmanuel Brown, but I feel like that's a huge jump from, because he's still up and coming, and Nobi's still up and coming, but I feel like Nobi has more of a wave behind him. Mm-hmm. Is that purposeful at all, though, or
no? I mean, not at all. Like, if anything, once again, shout out to the digital, because like we're both working with the same producer, you know, and so it's just one of those things where we cross paths unintentionally, you know, on a daily basis sometimes, and it's just like, of course we're gonna do something, you know, and just see what happens. And so yeah, there was no thought put into this. That's dope. And shout out to Emmanuel Brown too, you know what I'm saying? Because yeah, that's my guy.
There we go.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize like how hard you push your clothing brand, because when I did the Carter Wilson's Unilalia, it's like I don't know if you know much about Unilalia yet, but Unilalia is such a hard word to say. It's like Carter Wilson's take on a movement, as well as like a concert series, as well as like a thought process, as far as like a way of thinking. It's like so many things wrapped up into one, and he's trying to like break it down by like, doing these like concert venue things. And like he did the was that Throwbacks Northwest event like a week or two ago?
Yeah.
And I saw you out there promoting your clothes there.
Yeah.
So how did you make that connection with Throwbacks Northwest?
Oh man, it's crazy, man. Shout out to Rio, the owner. I've known him for a long time. And so way back, when I was first really just even learning how to record and do everything, I was working out of this studio called The Pharmacy with a legendary rapper and producer named Vitamin D.
Oh, yeah.
And he's the one who really taught me the ins and outs of production, you know, knowing how to count my bars, you know what I'm saying? Just everything, right? And so Rio was around Vitamin. He'd always be at the studio because he has a lot of roots in music as well. And so, you know, fast forward, I go to Atlanta for 10 years. I come back and I go on Throwbacks, and he's like, yeah, this is my store. And I'm like, oh,
wow,
okay. And so, you know, we always had that connection and that vibe from music. And so when he found out I was in clothing as well, and that we were both, you know, still walking in that same path and making money off our passion, just off the hip hop culture in general. It was like, man, we got to do something. There's too much history not to do anything. So we actually have a collaboration T-shirt that's in Throwbacks right now,
Ooh.
and it's exclusively there. It's been selling like hotcakes. Actually, like I got randomly last week I caught a pic of Travis Thompson rocking it.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So it's cool. It's all organic. It was just like, yo, like how do we help each other out?
Mhm.
And that's really should be the start of everything. It's like, okay, you got this, I got that. Let's put it together and make it a whole meal.
That's crazy. Like, so it's all about, I guess it comes down to just connections at the end of the day, you know?
And making yourself open to the thought of connecting with people, because I think a lot of times people are so caught up on themselves and whatever they're doing that they never take a step back and be like, how can I help somebody else, as opposed to, this person's doing this, I know he can help me. You know what I'm saying? But I always move like, how can I help? You know what I'm saying? And I think that actually gets me farther in the long run.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Like, not to toot my own horn about like the podcast stuff, but like one of my guests, Cole Campbell, he's like new. I think he's out of Kent, totally new artist, hasn't done any shows or anything. And then Carter Wilson was just looking through my catalog and was like, oh, I like Cole Campbell. And then me helping Cole Campbell ended up helping him even more than just the podcast.
Exactly.
Like, it's all about making this cool community. And I think I've always expressed the importance of a community, but I feel like with this COVID thing and how I thought COVID was going to go, because I was very naive in an optimistic way about how COVID was going to shape things. COVID has not turned out how I thought it was going to be. Of course, it's a pandemic, but I was just kind of naive on how I thought about it. So I think it's very important to, like, you know, do interviews in person again while we still can, and like make this community. And it's crazy that you're one of the, I've only done like under 10 interviews like a second time around. So I'm excited to.
Well, I'm blessed. blessed to be in that category.
So tell me how it's F-Rock, right?
Yes.
How it even got started.
So I'm the founder of the Fraggle Rock crew, which is a breakdance crew. We've been around for a good minute. And shout out to Massive Monkey, Circle of Fire, all the other b-boy crews that really helped to shape that dance culture in Seattle. And we're right there up with them. And so you know, we're big in the dance community as far as our clothing line. That's kind of like the original element that we decided to branch out in. And it all started from us doing shows as a collective and always having custom clothes when we did our shows and building up a demand. People would say, I like that shirt, you know, after the shows. And so we started doing limited runs of things and kept putting all the money back into what we were doing for like 10 years, to the point where we have our own print shop now, frockprinting.com. And so not only do we do printing for a lot of other up and coming brands and stuff like that, we're a clothing line as well. And so yeah, F-Rock clothing, man, it really was also one of those things that couldn't have saw it coming. It was just I've always been big off trying to make money off of things that I like.
Right.
You know, and I feel like that's always something that makes me happy, and that's what life is about being happy. So, and as things progress, like, you know, you find different things you like. So I branch out into different stuff, but clothing, music, you know, those are things that are consistent, and one hand washes the other pretty well. So.
And did that come out of COVID? Like, were you able to get the screen printing things?
We've been doing screen printing for over 10 years.
Oh shit.
So this is not like a COVID thing at all. It's just been like an incremental process.
Wow.
And it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, if you know, and if you don't, you'll find out. Because even the way that we promote our screen printing business is like, it's all word of mouth. Like we do good work, somebody else hits us up. We're not like blasting our stuff on Instagram, because really we started to do it because we just wanted to be able to create clothing at a cheaper rate, you know, and also to have more flexibility, because when you're paying somebody else to do your clothes all the time, it's a big investment, and to get a good rate, you have to do a lot of shirts. And then let's say that shirt's not the one. then you're stuck with all these shirts.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
And that happened to us. And so we learned through trial and error. We were like, you know what? The best way to do this is we need to be able to be in a position where we can test market, do small runs of things, and have a good rate so we can capitalize off of it. So we really did everything for us. But then back to the giving.
Right.
Who are we to, once we have the resource, who are we to just tuck it, you know? And also it was just a great way to make money too, just because let's be real, everyone doesn't have to buy your clothes. But when you can start to be a man of service and provide services for other people, then you put yourself in a whole different category.
For sure.
You know?
Can you break down the limited runs? Because I know we were talking about it with digital a little bit outside of the studio, but I think that's kind of a important thing for up and coming clothing lines to learn about.
So the cool thing about limited runs is, like, for the customer, they're excited because they're already a fan of what you're doing and they feel connected to have something that everybody doesn't have, right? But for the artist, it's great because you're not stuck with a whole bunch of shirts, and you can do this with a short, limited investment. Like, you're not putting in a whole bunch of money. You're just doing 25, 50 shirts, and then they're gone, and then you got this money after you sold those, and you can decide what your next move is. And that's kind of the way the game is going now. It's like people aren't coming out with whole lines of clothes. They're coming out with products, and then they promote that one product until it does well, or you just test the market. And so it works good because, like I said, like, yeah, your customer fan base is happy because they're going to the club in a shirt that they know that they're not going to see somebody else in.
Yeah.
And then you're happy because you got money in your pocket and you didn't spend all your money off of one t-shirt design, and you can pivot and figure out what your next move is a little better, you know?
So even for me, I'm still wondering about if I ever want to do like NAST merch or anything. How much money does someone need to start out with to even start any type of merch?
I mean, really not that much, man. So, I mean, if you were, for instance, we would love to help you out with your merch, first of all.
There we go.
And if you were interested, our limited or our minimum quantity is 30 shirts, and it'll run you, if it's just one color, it'll run you about $6 to $7 around there with the shirt included.
Oh, wow.
And so, you know, I mean, for $200 you're in the game, basically. You know what I'm saying? It's like around there you could be in the game and have some shirts to give away. The cool thing is you're selling a shirt for $20 to $25, something like that. You don't got to sell that many to make your money back.
Oh.
And so that's the greatest thing about it, is that if you do it right, you don't have to be the biggest clothing line. You could just eat and make a good living just off of, you know, your fan base.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
when people are making like shirts, is there a type of material they prefer, like whether it's Hanes or?
Yeah, I think Gildan is a good brand. They also bought American Apparel recently.
Oh,
So yeah, I think that's always a go-to. But it really just depends. There's a lot of cool t-shirt companies out there that are making awesome stuff, and then each brand too always has their upscale and their normal tee, you know.
So is Gildan like the ones where it's like kind of like athletic wear a little bit? Like what type of material is that?
And then also you got to realize it's branding, just like anything else. So one t-shirt's really not always better than another. Okay. It's just like the brand that you've built up for yourself, and Gildan has a good reputation. So when you're dealing with t-shirts, you're dealing with ounces of cotton, and so like if you ever get like American Apparel is like a 9-ounce cotton shirt, so that's like really nice, kind of silky, form-fitting. So, and I think it goes up to like 10 ounces, right? It's like the best. So when you're talking about the best quality shirts, you would want to get any shirt that's around 8 to 9 ounce cotton, and it just form fits really well.
When I was Triple H NAST, hottest hip hop news and sneaker talk, when I first started, I went to, it was an event Carter threw. Carter's actually so good at throwing events. It's kind of crazy. And it's like, whether there's a lot of people or not, like you feel really close with everyone that's there. And I didn't have that much money, but I was trying to show off and be like, my podcast is a real thing, so I'm going to go get some shirts. just one for me and one for my friend, and they weren't even good shirts, and they each ran us like it was like $100 to get 2 shirts, and it said like staff on the back and then like Triple H NAST on the front, and that's it. And we went to
The mall.
Yes, yeah, it was Sound Center Mall.
Yeah, the mall is notorious for that, because you're not dealing in quantity, and also it's the different type of process that, I mean, there's so many different processes when it comes to shirts. Like, we specialize in screen printing, but you could do direct to garment, which is like something where you can have as many colors as you want on a shirt. You could do like a vinyl letter type thing where it's more like they press it on, they heat press it on, which is what they do a lot at the mall.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're gonna mark it up at the mall mostly because you're not buying in quantity.
Do you have any tips on if you have like a graphic on your shirt, how to make it not like, I think this is cracked, all crackled. Like, how do you prevent graphics from getting all crackled in like the dryer or the washing machine?
Cold water, hang dry.
Oh, you gotta hang dry them, huh?
Cold water, hang dry.
I never do that.
Yeah, most people don't. The heat is what does that over time.
So how do you decide what your graphics are going to be for like your bags? Like, you got your F-Rock bag over there, or shirts?
I follow my heart. Nah, shout out to my business partner Tim Uemoto, aka B-Boy Tim Chips. You know, we powwow. You know, I run ideas by him. He might have an idea, he runs it by me, and then we just test it out and try it. And if it doesn't work, got 1,000 ideas.
And how do you feel comfortable enough, like, as if you're an up and coming, what would you say, clothing line owner? Is that what's the right word for it? I'm learning all these. There's like videographers, there's artists, there's producers. Like, what's a clothing line person called?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay. So if you're a clothing line owner, like, what mindset do you have to be? Because I feel like I help people out so much. Sometimes I feel like awkward charging people, right? So like, how do you go about charging friends or family even?
Just give them a little discount. But you know, the thing is like, you got to charge people because you never want to devalue yourself or your brand. And when people know you too well, or they get used to getting stuff for free, it's hard to ever get them to pay what you're worth for something. So first of all, you establish that this is the rate, but because you're my friend, I'm gonna do it for you for this price, and make them feel special because of that. You know, but if they really mess with you and they care about you, they shouldn't have a problem paying anyway.
Oh, that's a good point.
Then it's like, you're not really my friend.
Right. I think that relates to concert venues too. I don't know if you were in the room when I was at, I feel like me and the digital have been like, we've only been collaborating for like, maybe a month now, but it seems like every big thing that's happened so far, me and him have been talking about some shit or another. So I don't know who's been in the room or not, but this one guy came into the studio. You may have been there, you may have not been, and he was talking about how it's important for artists to stop going to shows for free to see their friends. How do you feel about that? Because I guess that can kind of relate to just giving your friends free shirts all the time.
Yeah, it's the same thing, man. It's like, the best way to support somebody is to, you know, it's something that's not a hobby that you're taking seriously, that you're trying to make you're trying to quit your day job and you want it to be your main thing. You can't do that without the support of the community. And so, yeah, if it's a show, if it's a shirt, whatever it is, man, yeah, you gotta attract that support and find the people that want to support you, but don't push it on them. If they don't want to, then there's 1,000, there's tons of people out there that'll mess with you.
Right. And what do you think makes you stand out as an artist here in the Seattle music scene, or even Atlanta?
I think that my time in Atlanta and in Seattle, just being able to take little jewels from different places I've been, also just different elements of hip hop, from production to rapping to being a studio owner, having a clothing line, the print shop. I learn from everything that I do, and I mix it all together into hip hop gumbo. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, like for instance, everything I'm doing with merch just or clothing just helps me as an artist to be able to understand how to sell things, how to
Right.
sell myself, how to sell merchandise. You know, just it's like every day is a lesson. But sometimes you just don't retain it. But I think that you know, I have certain puzzle pieces that are put together that other people don't. Not to toot my own horn, but yeah, that's what makes me special. I think that's what makes everybody special. We're not just gonna talk about me. What makes everybody special is the things that you go through.
Right.
It makes you who you are.
Right. So how'd you meet Vitamin D? Because that's actually a pretty dope connection. I think Blake Anthony has worked with Vitamin D too.
Yeah, so shout out to Vitamin. So me and Vitamin D's brother, Unorthodox, he's a producer as well. He doesn't live in Seattle anymore, I don't believe, but we used to produce together way back in the day. And this is when Vitamin Studio was at like his mom's house in the basement. So just because I was linked up with his brother, we had access to the equipment, and we would just go down there and do our thing. And so it just formulated like that. I grew up in the Central District, same as Vitamin, so we just moved in a lot of the same circles, and it yeah, I can't even. It was nothing planned out, It's just that good old CD.
So in the heart of Seattle, what I also realized is like Nirvana, they're from frickin' Aberdeen, so they weren't even really in the roots of Seattle until they kind of got bigger. So growing up like in Seattle, do you think there was always like a hip hop element? Because you were a b-boy, so you must have always been like influenced by hip hop.
Yeah, I think Seattle's always had a dope hip hop scene. I also have two older brothers that they're older than me, so like they were breaking like in the 80s, and rapping, doing different stuff. So they taught me a lot of stuff. I've always been like an old soul because I always kicked it with older people and learned from older people. And so yeah, for hip hop in general, I would say my brothers kind of put me onto it, and then once I figured out what was up with it, I started actively trying to seek it out, find out where it was going on.
Do you think dancing's still big in hip hop?
I do, but I feel like they're separate entities. Like dancing's dancing, and dancing's always gonna be attractive and big, and people will always dance to hip hop music. But as far as people putting it together and realizing that all of these elements together is what makes hip hop, I feel like there is a disconnect there. That's why I always try to include it in my shows and have background dancers come out. It's kind of like the icing on the cake, just to add that piece of history.
Ooh, and how do you find background dancers? And do you do rehearsals with them at all?
Of course, and the great thing is that the background dancers are just my crew I've been dancing with for so long. So it's like one of the reasons I wanted to take this hip hop thing to the next level with rap is because I always felt like street dancers got the short end of the stick, and were undervalued, underpaid, way underpaid compared to rappers. So I always had it in my head that if I was ever to get on that level, that I would take my people with me. And
what's the peak level for like a street dancer? Do they want to be doing like Super Bowl performances? Or?
Well, the cool thing is now, because of all the work that we've put in and all the b-boys around the world have put in, we're getting that respect. Like b-boying is going to be in the Olympics.
Really?
Yeah, it's official. It's going to be in the next Olympic Games, and they're already doing like little pre-trial stuff or whatever. But so now we're legitimized. I mean, hip hop just makes too much money for you to ignore.
Right.
And everything we do becomes history, pop culture. Everyone takes a bite out of it and does what they want to do. So it's only right that we retain some of the royalties.
And then how do you tell if someone's a good break dancer or not? Like from the outside, me not knowing how to dance at all, I think anyone that can go like is dope.
I think confidence is a big thing. I think knowing your foundation is a big thing too. Like there's like I had a conversation with one of my friends the other day, and I was like, the cool thing about art is like whenever somebody makes something look easy, that's hard. Whenever someone makes something look effortless,
Yeah.
you can tell that person's good at what they do.
True.
So like I think that's what it really breaks down to, is like anyone who could make something look easy. Like you see somebody like dunking or doing something, like, you might not be into basketball, but you're like, I can't do that. And so there's definitely that factor there with breakdancing. Like it's all about originality. Like one of the greatest things is having your own moves. You have moves that everyone does, and then you create your own special moves. And so with that in itself makes it hard to know what's good and what's not, because there's certain people where you're only going to see one thing from that person, and that's it. And if somebody else does it, it's called biting. So but the confidence you have, practice is just something that you can tell, man, because it's something that is like muscle memory. It's effortless, and I love to see people in their element doing what they do effortlessly.
Do you have a special move you can show us right now? Like, do you have a...
Nope.
Oh. But does each b-boy have like a move no one else can do? They're like, oh shit, he's about to bring out the Thunderbird special.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I would say so. I would say the best ones do.
Then how can you, like in the Olympics or even like dance competitions, how can you like judge or rate b-boying, because it's an art form? So how can you...
Well, here's a perfect example though. Okay, so like there's a move called flare. It's in the Olympics for gymnastics.
Okay.
But the real term is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive it's the John Thomas flare, because that's the person who invented the move. Okay, so sometimes even in gymnastics, people are innovating, inventing moves. You name it. Maybe later on it becomes foundation. It becomes something that everybody does. But there's always an inventor.
Yeah.
And so it's just about pushing it, taking it to the next level. And if you're the person that take it to the next level with that move, you name it, and it's yours for a while, and then it kind of becomes public domain at some point.
So those videos I'm seeing like on Instagram or TikTok where like is that b-boying?
That's popping.
Oh, so when there's like 3 of those guys and they're all going that's popping?
Yeah, so popping originated in Fresno, California. B-boying originated in the Bronx in New York. But they both ended up under the categories of hip hop, because we started dancing to similar music. But they were created on total, opposite sides of the country.
Dude, so many things come out of New York that I'm realizing. I'm like, that's the Mecca.
It's cool because even hip hop in itself is like, in New York, you have so many different people that migrated there, and really hip hop is just a mixture of everybody's culture. You know what I'm saying? Down to the dance moves. There's, a little salsa in there. There's a little this, that, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful that you could take a little bit from everything and mix it up in a way that's new.
Yes. Is there ageism in b-boying at all?
No, as long as you keep yourself up.
And how do you do that? Do you have to like work out and eat right, or like?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say especially now that it's a sport, or people are realizing it's a sport, it's only making things more legit. Like it's like, okay, people are really working out for the Olympics. Like they're really training hard, like because it's the Olympics, But we always treated big dance competitions like the Olympics. There was just no Olympics. It's just you always put your best foot forward. But I feel like now that there's big money on the line, there's big sponsors behind it, it's like, yeah, man, you better be in the gym. You better keep yourself up.
And is rhythm something you can learn, or are you just born with it?
I think you can learn it, but I also think that it could be in your DNA as well.
So can you be a b-boy but have no rhythm?
You can dance to the beat of your own drum.
Oh God.
But most b-boys have rhythm.
And do you still need to like bring out like a mat? Isn't that what they do? They just throw a mat on the street?
Yeah. Like if you're on the street, yeah, you have like the linoleum kitchen floor type thing, but you don't have to do that because, like I said, like, there's big competitions where we have nice wooden floors.
Ooh. And does the streetwear that goes hand in hand with b-boying?
Yeah, but we have like brands that are just like how you have like skate brands.
Oh,
You got b-boy brands
holy shit.
like Efrot clothing.
There we go. Efrot clothing.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the biggest thing that came out of COVID for you?
Um, It's a great question. You're on top of your game.
Okay.
Man, I would say the biggest thing probably was just learning how to connect with people without physical interaction. So like as an artist not doing shows, it's like, okay, not only is that bag of money is gone, how are you and your fans still want to hear music, and you still want to feel connected to things, right? So how do you do that? And so it's like, okay, let's be more online. Let's do merchandise giveaways, and let's do Zoom podcast, and let's figure out how to connect. And so if anything, I just learned more about marketing and connecting without physically being there.
And what have you learned that you value the most out of like people?
I think I value the connection, the physical connection, more out of people than I did before. I don't take it for granted. I try to be more present. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whenever there is a moment, because it's like you kind of don't know what you got till it's gone. You know?
So can we get into Splash Fest at all?
You know what? We can. It's tentatively supposed to be on August 21st.
Is it happening still?
That is what I don't know. And that's why I didn't really want to get into it, because I need to double check, because I'm hearing kind of things through the grapevine like it might not, but I'm still training for it. I'm still practicing and acting as if. But I don't want to promote it too much until I know.
Can I ask, like, how did you become part of Splash Fest?
Shout out to Marshall from the Marshall Law Band. I try to support everything that I feel like is real, and I really like what they're doing as far as putting on other artists, creating platforms for themselves to shine as well as other people. And so many artists that I know have been doing their Fremont Fridays joint at LTD. And so I would go there and see, and just be in the crowd, you know what I'm saying, just as a fan, and just be like, okay, yeah, this is cool, I like this, and peeped it out. And then I reached out to him personally on Instagram, also hit Digital up and was like, yo, I need to get on this, man, like what's going on. And then me and him were just going back and forth, you know what I'm saying? Like I woke up one morning, it was super early, and he had shot me a couple messages, video messages, like yo, like,
this is Marshall. He does that.
yeah. We both look like we just woke up, and it was early, and cause we're going back and forth on the messages, and
wait, one thing. You do that shit too. I forgot.
I do that.
B-Boy's into doing the video calls, and so was Marshall. So I could just see you guys both just sending videos back to each other. Oh my god,
dude, it was crazy. Like I was in the mirror shaving, and he was like just woke up out of bed. We're just going back and forth, like basically giving each other our roses, just like, yo, man, like definitely supporting. He's like, yeah, I got this big show at Nemo's, man. I love what you're doing. Yeah, I want you to bring the B-Boys out. We definitely gonna get you on some joints and this and that. And it's just like, I think sometimes when you're moving and you're doing stuff, you don't realize that you're making an impact. Like I didn't know that he knew what I was doing.
Wow.
And he didn't know that I was in tune to his movement. And so it started off with that camaraderie, and then right after that it was like, boom, how do we help each other out? What's going on? He was like, well, shoot, I'm pretty booked up with LTD. I don't know if we can get you on a Friday, but we can definitely get you on Splash Fest. I was like, cool, Splash Fest, let's get it.
That's
boom.
Dope. Has it got your mind working at all on how you could throw your own events during the pandemic, and how, like, it's not I think Marshall is like the main person, but like, or Carter even, like throwing events outside of these venues?
So shout out to Throwbacks. We're going to have a pop-up on August 28th. And I will be doing a little performance there as well. But I honestly, I've thrown a lot of B-boy events, throwing events, and one thing I learned just about myself personally is that I'm so in tune to what I'm doing, that when I throw the event, I just want to throw the event. I don't want to rap, or I don't want to do anything but just make sure the event goes good. And I don't like to spread myself too thin. So honestly, as a performer, I appreciate when there's a platform for me to perform on, and all I got to do is sell the tickets, tell people to come out, because there's so many other things to worry and think about when it comes to you actually planning and throwing your own show.
Right.
You know, you got to promote regardless, but promoting an event versus all the ins and outs of throwing an event, two separate things. And I like to keep it separate so I can do the best performance.
Yeah.
You know?
And what makes an event good and what makes an event bad?
I don't really know what makes an event bad. Sometimes it's just the vibe, you know, or whatever. I guess most people would say if there's not a lot of people, but I feel like you can still have a great event even if there's not a lot of people. I think what makes an event good is love and planning, and you can tell when somebody put energy into making it what it is. And that's why maximum energy needs to be put into either the performance or making the event good. Otherwise, me personally, I feel like I said, like spreading myself too thin, and I'm cheating the people of either a great event or a great show.
Right. I see you holding your headphones. You keep having different, every time I see you, you have different hairstyles, which is craziness.
I still got the flat top, but I was like, you know, while I have this hair, I might as well just twist it, do something different. Shout out to my barber, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Spaceman, and shout out to Nene. You know, she's in Africa right now, so she twisted me up before my birthday.
Ooh, can you tell me? I have the worst luck with finding barbers.
I got you.
Who do you recommend for not just me, just if you're white, black, whoever's listening to this?
Yeah. My dude Spaceman. He's a great barber, also a dope artist. I mean, he's hands down, like, you know, he cuts like Macklemore's hair to my hair.
Wow.
So I mean, that right there tells you he can do different hairstyles. Nene's dope with the twist. My girl Nene. So I have to plug you. I think Nene's Instagram is the Vicious Nene. So check her out. And Spaceman is Space Cuts.
There
so
we go.
yeah.
And what is a reasonable price for a haircut? I've realized, just even pandemic aside, I've realized how like stingy I am spending money on certain things, and then there's other things I'll just be like, fuck it, I'll spend however much it is. But like for haircuts, I haven't had a good haircut.
Yeah.
Like I will never go back to like torture for me would be going back to like Great Clips or Hair Masters. I'll never go there again. So I don't know what an actual good haircut really is and what a good price for that is even.
Yeah, man. It depends on what you want to do, but also it's like it also depends on the person, because, you know, when they're really great at what they do and they've been doing it for a long time, they deserve to be able to charge a little more, especially if they're doing it independently. So I would say anywhere from $25 to $50, depending on what you got going on.
And then tipping's important, I've heard.
Yeah, I try my best, but like, if you're going to tip me over the head with a crazy price, don't expect a big tip.
Yeah.
But I love you.
There we go.
But you got to make everything, you know what I'm saying? We still, no matter how much, you know, one thing I realized too, no matter if you got money or not, I think people just think that people that are in a good situation, like they don't care a lot. But the people that I know that are the most wealthy be the ones they got that way because they
stingy.
Yeah. and they watching every dollar, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, don't get it twisted. Like
your hair.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. Don't get it twisted. Like, you know what I'm saying? We're not cheap, but we're frugal.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, it is what it is. But I always have a good experience, like I said, with my man, the Spaceman, and my girl, Nene. So if you need those numbers, it can be arranged.
Shout out to them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is your opinions on the Seattle music scene as it stands right now?
I think it's dope.
There we go. What is some advice that you have for up-and-coming artists, creators, influencers?
Be yourself.
Yes, be yourself. And what does it mean to be yourself?
It's different for everybody.
Oh.
and it may change. It's okay. It's okay to be one way 1 year and find out that there's a different part of yourself that you never explored. So keep an open mind.
Yeah, I think that's important. Keep an open mind.
Yeah.
So the video for Clean is out. The single for Clean. Wait, the single Clean is out, and the video for the single Clean is out.
Also, just dropped a new single. It's called The Golden Child.
Oh, I just checked it out. It was like, is that you?
It's Baby Me.
Yeah.
With a pacifier and a guitar bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? Because this is not, I didn't just start doing this. You know what I'm saying? It's in my blood. So The Golden Child, shout out to my dude, Juanito Jones. He produced the beat. He's in New York. That's also on all music platforms right now as well. Video coming soon. Gemma's shooting the video.
Oh, shout out Gemma. Gemma was just on the podcast.
I know.
If you're looking to create any or have your singles or whatever, if you need a music video, basically, go to Gemma.
Yes, sir.
What is the easiest way for people to reach you, B-Boy?
At B-Boy Fidget, BBOYFIDGET, and that's pretty much across all platforms.
There we go. This is the NAST podcast with
B-Boy Fidget.